Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky. Watch Premier League, Women's Super League, EFL, Scottish Premiership and much more. Live on Sky Sports.
Alright, it is Thursday evening on Off the Ball. Delighted to be joined by John Giles. How are you keeping, John?
Okay, Nathan.
There's been a lot going on this week. A couple of Champions League semi-finals, and for many people, the final within there of Real Madrid and Manchester City. 1-1 over in Spain on Tuesday night. What did you make of the City performance?
I thought it was quite good, Nathan. You know, the Real Madrid are a very, very good team, great manager and Ancelotti. And I thought they responded well. I thought De Bruyne was very good. Sometimes I think he gets a bit cranky with his teammates now, but he performed well, really well against Madrid, took his goal really well. So it was a top-class match, you know. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'd say City should be favourites now going back to Manchester.
De Bruyne has had an interesting season in that the World Cup was a real struggle for him with Belgium. Didn't seem happy on the pitch or off the pitch there. And there's definitely been more of an inconsistency to his performances for Manchester City. But when you look back on the biggest games of the season, Real Madrid on Tuesday night, the match against Arsenal, Liverpool, both games against Arsenal, in fact, in the Premier League, the 6-3 against Manchester United earlier in the season, like generally De Bruyne has stepped up when it's mattered.
Yeah, he's that type of player, Nathan. Obviously, he's a very, very talented lad. But, you know, if you go back to the World Cup, he did a piece in the paper where he said, I can't do it on my own, I need some help from the players. You know, that's not good, especially to the players around him. I think Guardiola had a go at him not so long ago, Nathan. I think he left him out in a couple of matches, and I think he bucked up since then. Because when he does play, and play at his best, he's really, really top-notch. And I think in recent times he's been playing very, very, very well. But I think Guardiola had a go at him. I think he's a moody type of individual who demands a lot of people around him. You know, which is okay as long as he's doing it himself. But he has stepped up in recent matches. There's no doubt.
The fact that it is the biggest matches is massive for Manchester City, that they can rely on him to deliver on the big occasion. Is there a bit that he's 31 now, he's going to be 32 during the summer, that maybe it's just he's struggling for a bit of motivation for the run-of-the-mill, week-in, week-out league games?
Well, it shouldn't be, Nathan. You know, like when you're a pro like he is, if you do that, you're letting your teammates down. You know, if he's not going to play well, it involves everybody else in the team. Because he's in a position in the middle of the field, as we know, where you expect him to do it. You know he can do it. And I would doubt that. It's just, he's a moody type of individual anyway. I think he needs a bit of handling. But very, very, very talented. And I think Guardiola, you know, saw that in him and said, look, unless you get going again, you'll be out or you'll be gone. Whatever else he has to say to him. But in recent times, in the big matches, he has played well, and I thought he played well the other night. And an excellent goal that he did score.
What did you make of how it worked out in midfield? We obviously have such high standards for Luka Modric, and you know, for a large part of the games, again, he showed that usual control. How did Manchester City compare to that Real Madrid midfield?
I think in the second half they did. You know, it was the first time I've seen Modric maybe getting tired, Nathan, in the second half. You know, he wasn't dominating the game. Like in the first half, I thought Madrid were on top. Second half, City definitely got on top. And we didn't see Modric. That's unlike him, Nathan. I think he took him off a little bit early as well. You know, maybe the years are catching up on him. But you know, in City's midfield, like he would, I think, at his best, dominate the middle of the field.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he's had a bit of an injury as well over the last...
spectacular things, Nathan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nathan.
I was just going to say, Modric had a bit of an injury as well over the last couple of weeks, so maybe, as you say, there was that bit actually of fatigue in the second half.
Yeah, I think so, because he's the type of player that can dominate the game. City don't have a player that can dominate the game. They've got Rodri and you've got Gundogan. You know, De Bruyne does it in flashes. He's not a player that does it all the time, but he's very, very effective when he's at his best. but they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have a Modric. So I was disappointed in Modric because he's a great player, as we know, but he didn't really do it against City the other night.
Manchester City have had so many sporting catastrophes in the Champions League over the last 4 or 5 seasons where you felt this was the year they were going to do it, and suddenly there'd be a concession of 2 or 3 quick goals and they'd find themselves out of the competition. When you look at the performance on Tuesday and heading into the second leg next Wednesday at the Etihad, does this City team look better than what's gone before over the last 3 or 4 years to deal with whatever Madrid throw at them? I
think so. I mean, we go back to last year. I mean, they look like they had the game tied up. Madrid are very, very good at that. I mean, Ancelotti's a great manager and great players in there. They still have, but it's not over yet, Nathan. It's probably the best chance of doing it now. It looks like on paper it's the hard one. The real hard one is away from home, and now they're at home. Are they going to use the advantage of that? I think they will, but that's But I wouldn't. Well, I don't put any money on it anyway. But I wouldn't be surprised at anything that Madrid do. Now, I'm not trying to work it out. What I'm saying is I think City will do it.
Yeah.
But I certainly wouldn't, I don't think anybody would, write Madrid off by any means.
Ever since
they
Pep
are capable
Guardiola
of doing it, but I think City are in a situation now. But unless Pep does something totally different again.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That everyone still goes back to the Champions League final and leaving Rodri out. It does seem when you look at the team that lined out the last night, which was the same team that started against Arsenal, that actually he's keeping it incredibly straightforward.
I think so. And I think that's the way it should be. I mean, if you go back to the Chelsea match in the final a couple of years ago, Nathan, he was all over the place. He played without a midfield, from nowhere. I mean, he is inclined to do that, but in recent times, I think he's picked his best team for these particular matches. And certainly I think he picked his best team the other night. There was no messing about with it, playing too many forward or that. They were good. The match was good. Madrid started very well, but City played well and a good goal got them back into it, which should give them, back at home, unless he does something unusual again. And at the moment, he's not doing that type of thing.
They won again in the Premier League at the weekend. Tight enough game for the last few minutes against Leeds, a 2-1 victory. You were on last week talking about Sam Allardyce, and I think it's fair to say you weren't having him and the impact he could make. Was there any signs in the fact that Leeds stuck in the game, that they made for a nervous finale, that over the next 3 games that they can somehow get the results that will squeeze them out of the relegation spots?
I didn't see it, Nathan, to be honest. I didn't see that against City.
Right.
At all. I mean, we saw Haaland in recent times. Then he could have had a hat trick in the first half. So there wasn't. I don't think there was any great pickup from Allardyce against City. City didn't take their chances. I mean, I'll tell you what I think's happened to Leeds. Leeds under Bielsa, I know it's going back a bit, was concentrating on attacking. And obviously, if you're attacking a fair amount, you don't have to defend so much. Because Leeds were never good under Bielsa at defending, but they were very, very good going forward, and they won their fair share of matches doing that. But if you look at Sam did as I expected him to, most people expect him to do, was to set out to defend. I mean, they hardly got a kick of the ball in the first half, and Haaland is missing chances. So I think he got away with it. I think Haaland has been taking them, as we know, and I think he got a lucky break. There was big controversy over the penalty incident, which I think he was right to go mad over that. I mean, Haaland is the penalty taker, and because Gundogan, and they're winning 2-0 at that stage, Nathan, three finishes them off totally. But because Gundogan was on a hat trick, Haaland said, "Take it." You don't do that, Nathan. If you've got a penalty taker, he's a penalty taker. And he should be, whether they're winning 6-0 or losing 6-0, he takes the penalties. That's my take on it. Because Gundogan finished up missing the blooming thing, and then in football, as you never know what's going to happen, Leeds score and make it 2-1. It's all nervy now. I never believed in it, Nathan. I got into a bit of trouble myself at Leeds with the crowd. We were playing in a European Cup match one night, and we were winning 6-0. And Albert Johansson was on a hat-trick. And the crowd was shouting for Albert to take the penalty. And I said, no, I'm the penalty taker. You know, I take them in the good days, I take them in the bad days.
Yeah.
I don't think the crowd ever forgave me.
Well, did you score the penalty?
I did, yeah.
That's all right then.
But it didn't. I mean, from then on, I never, not that I cared too much, but I never got in the first three of the Player of the Year.
Wow.
The
love was gone.
Albert, you know,
The love
Albert was a star with the crowd, which is fair enough. But I just never believed in it. You know, if it's a penalty, it's a penalty. You're the penalty taker. You take it, not on the good. You do it on the good days and the bad days. And I think that's why Pep was going mad the other day. Although I think he should have established stronger than he has done that nobody takes the penalties unless the penalty taker has taken them.
Mm.
You know, he went mad afterwards about what happened. But I think it should have been established from day one as a penalty taker, Nathan, that no matter what the score is, the penalty taker takes it. I made a mistake one time myself in a situation like that. It was the international match, and I think it was against Turkey. And they were a fair team, but we went 3-up before half time, and Ray Tracy scored 2, and we got a penalty just after half time, and I let Ray take the penalty. Shouldn't have done, and he missed it. And they scored 2, Nathan. Turkey.
And why did you let him take it? Why did you let him take it?
Because he's on a hat trick.
Yeah.
It was stupid. I never didn't do it myself at club level, and I let Ray do it because, to be honest, I did think we were home and dry because they were terrible in the first half, Turkey. And just after half time, this was to make it 4-0. Ray Tracy, and Ray missed it, and they went on and scored 2 goals, and we hung on. I was stupid. It was my fault.
I'm surprised that
I didn't do it. I didn't do it at club level. When I was taking penalties myself at Leeds, I wouldn't let anybody else take them. I got soft that night.
Never again. Never again.
Never again. I shouldn't have done it in the first. I didn't get on to Ray or anything. It was my own fault. It shouldn't have happened. I did honestly think I was home and dry, but I was experienced enough at that stage to know that you're never home and dry until the whistle goes. And that happened last week. Pep went mad, but I think Pep should have established it much stronger than he did for the penalty taker. It was Haaland that gave the penalty ball to Gundogan for his hat trick, and it did look like it was all over, but it never is. You have to just learn from it. I learned from it early on with Albert Johansson, but it didn't do me any favours with the crowd. I didn't care about that, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Well,
but it's very important.
Are you sure it didn't affect you when you were thinking about the Ray Tracy thing? You're like, I want the Irish fans to love me. I saw what happened with Leeds, didn't finish in the top 3 of the Player of the Year, and is that going to happen with the Irish supporters?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I did let Ray take the penalty.
Yeah.
You know, if Albert Johansson, I said, no, he's not taking it. So I changed my mind on that one. I should never have done. And it proved it. Ideally, last week, if you're looking for it, Gundogan misses the penalty, and they go and score, and now they're hanging on. You know, because you're assuming. But if you're the penalty taker, you're the penalty taker. And
it was strange, all right, because City have had so many problems with penalties over recent seasons. If Aguero wasn't on the pitch, as to who was going to take them, and they've missed an enormous amount of penalties. It almost felt, watching it, that Haaland was trying to be something that he's not, that he was trying to look like the ultimate team player and not this selfish goal scorer that he needs to be and has been better than we've ever seen in the Premier League before. That he has his 35 goals, he's broken that record, he has his 51 goals in all competitions, he's over the half century, that now he almost needs to be a bit more generous to his teammates when it's really not the time of the season to become that guy.
Yeah, I don't think he was thinking that deeply about it, Nathan, to be honest now. But when Gundogan was taking the penalty, I didn't in my head think, well, it was so far in front, you know, this was really to finish it off. But it just proved to me again, it's never over till it's over. You know, I think what happened with Haaland is he thought it was over as well. And when the penalty, before the penalty was out, I didn't see Pep jumping up to say, no, he's not to do it. He jumped up after he missed it, because I thought I didn't think it would matter too much. I thought he would score, but I didn't think it would matter that much. But that happens in football. He misses it, and then Leeds go down and score out of the blue. Now you're in trouble. Now it's jittery before the end, which it was.
Yeah.
So, but it should never happen in the first place. I made the mistake doing it, but right, Tracy, shouldn't have done it, and I nearly paid the price. We finished up winning 3-2.
And did Ray thank you?
No, he missed it.
And he never got his hat trick.
He didn't get his hat trick. No.
No.
I went unprofessional on it. I mean, at Leeds, I wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
But I really did think we were winning 3-0. I thought there was no problem. And as I should have learned in football, it's never over till it's over, Nathan. No matter what the score may be. I mean, in the match last week, City were killing Leeds. They were killing Leeds. And this was a hat-trick opportunity. And I thought there'd be no problem on it. But there was. I mean, it's scored immediately and make it 2-1. Now anything can happen. But I didn't think it was a good performance by Leeds, by Sam. I mean, I think when Bielsa was doing his stuff, it was attack whenever they possibly could. That was never Sam Allardyce. And Leeds were never good defending. Never good under Bielsa. And I still don't think they're good defending. I think they got away with it last week. And I'd be worried for them if I had to be worried.
Well, they're running out of games, and we saw a remarkable day on Monday where Everton go and score 5 at Brighton.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest beat Southampton, so Southampton are all but gone. Leicester are also right down there in huge trouble as well in the relegation zone. So Leeds have only 3 matches left. They play Newcastle on Saturday, then they go to West Ham before finishing up against Tottenham. When you look at the performances, is it just going to take one of those freakish results for them to get a win, that there's little or nothing you're seeing on the pitch that would suggest they're going to go and win a game?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Sam when he at his best, well, he would say at his best, when he was managing before, was never an attacking manager. He was a defensive man, definitely a big defensive man. So Leeds under Bielsa was an attacking man, not good defensively. So I don't think Leeds have improved defensively. You know what I mean? In other words, with Bielsa they won matches because they were brave enough to go for it. I don't think Sam will go with this. I think Sam will go out defensively like he did against City in the other matches. And I don't think it'll prove to be right, Nathan. I'd love Leeds to escape, but I don't really feel that they're going to do it.
Up the other end, it's been a pretty interesting few days, particularly in the race for the top 4, where Liverpool have now won 6 games in a row without being totally convincing probably in any of the 6 games, but they're hot on the heels of Manchester United, who were beaten again by West Ham, and Newcastle, who lost that game against Arsenal. The Arsenal-Newcastle match, it didn't look like a game between a team that was second in the league and third in the league. Like, both sides probably showed why they're having such strong seasons in that match. Would you agree? Yeah.
I thought Arsenal were really, really good against Newcastle. I think Arteta was really good. They were very positive from the start. There was no sitting back with them. They went for it from the start, and they played. I thought they played really well. And Newcastle didn't respond. They didn't have one of their good games at all. But Arsenal were, from Arteta's point of view, he obviously said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go for it. And they did go for it. And the players that had let them down fairly, like Xhaka and Gabriel, were really, really professional in this match, Nathan. So they were very good. I mean, it would be very easy from Arsenal in their position to collapse now with City doing what they're doing. But they haven't. They're still in the race. So it was a very, very professional performance. And I thought they were really, really good. Really good.
What's going on with Manchester United? This felt as though, it was going to be a season of huge progression. They already have one trophy. They're in an FA Cup final, and it looked a couple of weeks ago like maybe they'll get to Europa League final and cruise into the top 4. And suddenly they find themselves a point ahead of Liverpool, albeit with a game in hand as well. What are you seeing from United that explains this decline in form?
I don't think they're good enough, Nathan. I don't think they've got good enough players. They're all right on their day, but they haven't got that attitude that, say, Arsenal have at the moment. They're very inconsistent. I mean, the match last week with West Ham, I thought they were terrible. Terrible. Some of the positions they have, two fullbacks, for example. Fernandez, you don't know what he's going to do. I just don't. I don't think they've improved as much as all of us thought they had improved. To be honest, they're too inconsistent, Nathan, in the way that they play or give away goals. And they haven't got the consistency. I think he's improved them. I don't think he's improved them enough to say they're on their way.
Right.
Not by a long way. Not by a long way.
Part of the problem is the goals they've been conceding, and another mistake from David De Gea in that game against West Ham. Now, they're in contract negotiations with him at the moment, and there's an argument that when you look at that United 11, there's plenty of other areas on the pitch that need to be a priority. But if you have a goalkeeper who you can't trust, and listen, De Gea's kept more clean sheets than anybody this season is the other argument, but he seems to make an enormous amount of individual errors. Should that be number one priority for Eric Ten Hag during the summer? Like, are you surprised they're going to extend his contract?
I would be surprised, Nathan. Yeah, because in all the teams that have done well or do well historically have a good goalkeeper. The goalkeepers have to be saving your goals. Like in the last couple of weeks, in the European match, he was bad as well, and then he had a good game, and then he had a bad game. But my take on goalkeepers is that they should be saving you 10 goals a season, for example, saving you 10 goals a season, instead of losing you 2 or 3. I mean, I had this place when we were at Leeds with Gary Sprake. When Gary Sprake was a young fella coming in, he was a top-class goalkeeper. His nerves went somewhere else, but Don stuck with him.
Yeah.
But it cost us like, as I said, if you take it in the situation, Nathan, that your goalkeeper's really good, he's going to save you 10 goals a season, right? But he was giving goals away. It's twice as bad.
And do you look back and think how many more medals you would have won if Don Revie hadn't been as loyal as he was to Gary Sprake?
I think we would have won 2 or 3 more.
Right.
Don was the type of character. When Don was at Leeds first, he wasn't doing very well, and he took a gamble, a football gamble, and put Gary Sprake in, and Norman Hunter, 3 or 4 or 5 players, young players. He put them in, and they really did well for him, including Gary Sprake. He was outstanding, and I think Don felt he owed him. That was my take on it, because he made a lot of mistakes, Gary. His nerves went, I think. And it took a long time for him to leave him out of the team. Actually, we were playing Birmingham in the semi-final of the Cup at Sheffield Wednesday, and he left him out of the team that morning. And Gary never got back in. Right. Never. David Harvey went.
And what was the final straw?
Oh, we won. We won well. We won the Cup. We went on to win the Cup that year. That was in 1972. We were playing Birmingham City. They were a second division team. But Gary had made a lot of mistakes, Nathan, that when you're up there at the top, instead of saving you 10 goals a season, we were losing 5 or 6 seasons. They're all points. And it took him a long time to do it, because I think he was that type of individual, Don. These guys did it for me, which is good. Norman Hunter, Paul Reaney, Paul Medley. They all come into the team because they weren't doing it, along with the great Bobby Collins. But Gary was outstanding. He was outstanding in the team when they first got in. And then he started making a few mistakes, and it went and cost us badly.
I noticed last week it was the 50th anniversary of the 1973 FA Cup final, but we thought it probably best not to mark that occasion.
Was 53?
The 73 Cup final.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a couple of them, Nathan. Yeah. I think we were in 3 cup finals on the trot.
Yeah.
And we won one of them.
Back when the Cup was the Cup.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in 72. And obviously, if you do that, you get a name as runners-up. But you have to get there first, Nathan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you were beaten in the semi, we wouldn't have had a reputation of runners up. We would have been beaten in the third round, you know. But the first one we went to was the year we got promotion, was against the terrific, great Liverpool team. That was in 1965, and we were runners up in the league and the cup. And the other teams we came up with were fighting relegation. But if you do that, you get the name of being, losing. It was a miracle getting there in the first place. But that's the way it was. But we came through. I mean, Leeds won the league twice. We won the cup. We won the first cup twice. We won the league cup. So it wasn't a bad list in the end.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for that bloody referee, you would have had a European Cup as well.
Well, could have been, yeah.
Could have been.
It was a bit dodgy anyway, Nathan, I think.
John, we got to leave it there. Great stuff as always.
Thanks, Nathan.
Talk to you next Thursday.
Bye.
John Giles with us every single Thursday here on Off the Ball, and all our football is brought to you by Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sports and Premier Sports.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky. Watch Premier League, Women's Super League, EFL, Scottish Premiership and much more. Live on Sky Sports.